Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone around the world. Before I get started, I just want to have a brief word of prayer. Dear loving Father, which art in heaven, Lord, thank you so much for your guidance. And Lord, thank you for bringing us to this new point in our life where we recognize you as the sovereign of the universe. Bless us according to your grace. In Christ's name, amen. Today, we're going to be looking at a subject called the work of the withered right hand. What that is your right hand is your helping hand. It helps you perform your daily tasks. It makes your work a lot easier. That is the work of the medical missionary work. The medical missionary work has become withered because we refuse to use it. And so this is to show the importance of that work as it relates to the doctor and the preacher. Very close and sacred is the relationship between Christ and his church. He, the bridegroom, and the church, the bride. He, the head, and the church, the body. Connection with Christ then involves connection with his church. The church is the foundation. The medical missionary work is the helping hand. The work of the true medical missionary work is largely a spiritual work. And I want to emphasize that. Please do not attempt to try to do the medical work without the spiritual part. Then it's no different than all the other modalities that the world offers. It includes prayer, the laying on of hands. He therefore should be as sacredly set apart for his work as a minister of the gospel. Those who are selected to act the part of a medical missionary physician are to be set apart as such. This will strengthen them against the temptation to withdraw from the sanitarian work to engage in private practice. No selfish motive should be allowed to draw the worker from his post of duty. So there's no difference between A medical missionary physician and a gospel minister, they're the same. They must unite both the gospel and the practicality of medical missionary work. Calling these disciples together, Christ gave them their commission. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, cleanse the leper, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. Behold, I have sent you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Nothing will open a door for truth like evangelistic medical missionary work. This will find access to hearts and minds and would be a means of converting many to the truth. I don't care what you do. You can do all the evangelizing. You can do all the meetings you want. The Bible says, but when it comes to reaching unworked soil, if it comes to reaching people in the world, nothing would do it better than medical missionary work. The evangelist who is prepared to minister to diseased bodies is given the grandest opportunity of ministering to sin-sick souls. Such an evangelist should be empowered to minister baptism to those who are converted and desire baptism. Medical missionary work is the right helping hand of the gospel to open doors for the proclamation of the message. And again, I've been instructed that the medical missionary work is to bear the same relationship to the work of the third angel's message that the arm and the hands bear to the body. Under the direction of the divine head, they are to work unitedly in preparing the way for the coming of Christ. The right arm of the body of truth is to be constantly active. It is this inactivity that has caused it to be withered, constantly at work, and God will strengthen it, but it is not to be made the body. At the same time, the body is not to say to the arms, I have no need of thee. The body have need of the arms in order to do active, aggressive work. Both have their appointed work, and each will suffer great loss if worked independently of the other. Medical mission work should be a part of the work of every church in our land. Disconnected from the church, it will soon become a strange melody of disorganized atoms. It will consume, not produce. Instead of acting as God's helping hand to forward to his truth, it will zap the life and the force from the church and weaken the message. Conducted independently, it would not only consume talent and means needed in other lines, but in the very work of helping the helpless apart from the ministry of the word. It would place men where they would scoff upon Bible truth. Now listen to this. And we know there are a lot of evils in this world, but there's one evil that is supreme. My brethren, the Lord calls for unity and for oneness. We ought to be one in the faith. I want to tell you that when the gospel ministry and the medical missionary work are not united, there is placed on our churches the worst evil that can be placed there. I believe it is this withered right hand that has been neglected that has caused so much problem among us as a people. It is the worst evil when the gospel ministry and the medical work do not work unanimously. Our medical missionaries ought to be interested in the work of our conference, and our conference workers ought to be as much interested in the work of the medical missionary work. They have their appointed work. Now, let's look at the right hand. Let's see how we can strengthen that withered hand. You go out in the community, you meet somebody with a sinus problem. They have scar tissue up in the sinus. There's a total blockage of the sinus cavity. How can you open that sinus up? By using these simple means, it would open the door for the preaching of the gospel. You simply can take 2 drops of DMSO and 2 drops of peppermint extract. Mix them in 1 tablespoon of water with a little menthol crystals in it. And then you can drop 1 or 2 drops in the nostrils or the nose. and within 30 seconds, the sinus would open up. You can also do a menthol crystals inhalation. That's where you heat it up to steam by putting menthol crystals in some hot boiling water and inhale the steam. This will do wonderful in stopping a sinus headache, unblocking a sinus congestion. Take a look at this young man.
By the beach and the salt water.
Man, I'm a good swimmer.
So you don't take too much salt.
Nope. You got a little yeah. The salt is at the bottom.
Calm down.
Oh, you did that.
Calm down.
I'm not going to put that much in. You just sniff it up.
I have droppers that you use to drop.
I mean, he's using the droppers in here because he's not here. I sniffed up.
I know, that's what I was just thinking.
Oh, man. When you carry that video and look at it, I know you're going to laugh.
She's laughing now. Can't show nobody that video. I was there making some face and go.
Ooh, I got some live action for Sister Smith. I think I got better footage than Sebastian with him.
Yeah. He called last night.
Oh, he's back in the States?
He may come down.
Okay, now you just see
that
a
would be
young
great.
man who had a total blockage of the sinus cavity. By simply doing this simpler treatment, within minutes, we was able to open up his sinus cavity where he could breathe easily. Here's this same young man again as we attempt to do another menthol inhalation.
Because person had wife told me about salt and water. And said her mother went.
You get an answer? Yeah, no.
Say sorry.
Okay.
Wow.
Rose my eye. How many cups? How many cups?
You hear him? I just said he's singing already.
Oh, man. It
So
feels
you
like a
just see this
bird.
young man that had a
Yeah,
total
it's
blockage
probably
of
a
the
little
sinus.
like
And in no time at all, we was able to open it up. He feel a lot better. The mucus that was blocked has been set free. These things used in prayer and keeping the word of God before the people can open the door of more truth. You can also make a cough syrup. And I say a triple portion with a triple portion of the Holy Spirit. Take 1 cup of honey, half a cup of garlic, half a cup of onion, the juice of 2 lemons, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/3 of a teaspoon of peppermint extract, half a cup of horseradish if you have it. If not, just go ahead and use it anyway. Blend it all together and take a half a teaspoon as needed. This will pull out the mucus that is congested in the system and will make you respirate a lot easier, especially for those suffering from a cold. You can take 1 tablespoon of honey with 1/4 tablespoon of cinnamon powder daily for 3 days. This process will cure most chronic cough and colds, and also would help clear up sinus condition. For those who have problem with sinus and they can't breathe properly, all you need to do is follow these little simple demonstrations, and you'll be amazed how effective they will be. By simply putting some peppermint, menthol crystals in some hot boiling water, place a towel over their head, let them breathe in the hot steam. Also, you can take a little Epsom salt and take about a teaspoon of Epsom salt, put it in some water, and you can also rinse out their sinus cavity with that. All of these are wonderful remedies, and they're designed to catch the attention of the people. There are many people I work with that have arthritic condition of the knee and really need a knee replacement. But there's a wonderful and a most effective treatment you can use for people that need a hip knee replacement. It's quite an aggressive treatment. You have to be very skilled in doing it. You simply apply a garlic poultice. That's where you take 1 or 2 bulbs of garlic, I mean the whole bulb, chop it up, add enough water to it to make a paste out of it. Apply it over the top of the kneecap, not the side, not the back, over the top of the kneecap, and wrap it. Leave it on 5 to 6 hours. This will cause large blisters to develop on the kneecap. Once the blisters have developed on the kneecap, take a sterilized needle and prick those blisters and drain out this fluid. This treatment works really well. I do encourage you to make sure that they're not a diabetic, because you cannot use this treatment on a diabetic or anyone that cannot be experienced blistering. So do not use this treatment on someone that's a diabetic, but otherwise it is a wonderful treatment. This is another treatment that is really good. A person that have pain in the back. Is it stinging anywhere, bro?
Yeah. Right where you put that thing.
It's just, you feel it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's penetrating deep into your muscles all the way down.
Okay.
That's what that is. Untangle it. That cord is tangled up around the bed. You can. These are the simple treatments that get people attention. In this case, this man had some serious problem with his back, maybe ruptured disc. By simply taking a semi-green papaya and making a poultice out of it and applying it over the area of inflammation, leave that on for about an hour, remove that, make a garlic plaster by simply blending up some garlic and olive oil and rubbing that over the back area, and then simply sponging some DMSO over the top of that. Then take an infrared light bulb, as you saw me doing right here, and shine it over the painful area. It will cause the natural components of the garlic to penetrate down into the vertebrae, down into the body, and relieve the inflammation. Once again, you're trying to get their attention. The world is a laser house of sickness and disease, and we must be skilled to know how to get their attention. This particular treatment here, I call it an herbal ray. It mimics the radiation machine without the toxic rays of radium. It's simply take a box and get about 3 infrared light bulbs, about 250 watts. Build a box, place it inside the box, and then you simply spray the person's body down with olive oil and DMSO, because the DMSO is a solvent. It will cause the rays to pass through the body just like an X-ray machine, and this will do a tremendous job in alleviating pain. Can you do that just for a quick second? And I just want to see if we can pick up the glove. Okay. So now, what I would do now is I would take some DMSO, liquid 99% DMSO, and some olive oil, and I mix it together. I take about 1 ounce of DMSO and about 2 or 3 ounces of olive oil, and I would rub that on her chest. At the same token, I would take any herb that I want, that I feel like would help her lungs, and I would mix it into DMSO. I'll take garlic. Garlic is a wonderful solvent. And this is a very powerful treatment. And I remember in the early days when I worked on this treatment, I studied how the X-ray machine would work. I wanted something that would work similar to that without the toxic effect. This is another view of the same system of herbal ray.
And then spray some cold water behind it.
Okay. Once you turn it off, let me go a lot longer. You've been here this as long as you've been able to stand it, so it must be kind of cooling off a little bit. Are you tolerating it?
I'm tolerating it too, but it's not as intense because we're using the one light coming from the bottom. So it's
Okay, right. Because he did the application at home and got a burn on his chest.
Open that up just one more
Okay.
time.
Remember now, this is an herbal ray treatment, and it can get really hot. So you have to adjust the distance, the time that you're exposing the body to the heat. The DMSO is a solvent that causes it to penetrate into the body, which is going to stimulate what we call phagocytosis or boost your immune system. The most fantastic treatment in dealing with cancer, bone cancer, or any internal organ that may be infected with inflammation. I'm going through this briefly just to give you an indication of what could be done. If a person have pain, such as a severe migraine headache or tooth pain, this is a wonderful treatment by simply making a cayenne salve, by mixing cayenne pepper, a little coconut oil, any type of vegetable fat with some cayenne pepper, peppermint, and any essential oils you want. And if you have the DMSO, use that. If not, it will work without it. And you simply apply that real thick over the painful area. Let's take a look at it. And by applying that, that cayenne pepper is going to penetrate deep down in the muscles, and it will also relax those nerves that are inflamed. Sometimes people eat a lot of beans and greens and a lot of seafoods, especially fish, that produce a lot of acid in their system. A lot of eggs and pickles and cheese, pork, a lot of unclean milk, a lot of unclean foods. These foods can produce a lot of acid in the system. And a person can develop a condition called hives or uricum. You can, and it's a very irritating, uncomfortable condition where you break out with all these little bumps and whips all over your body. And they itch and they really, it's uncomfortable. You can cut a lemon in half and massage that over the skin. That would neutralize the acid that is being released from the skin. It's really a good treatment. You can take a baking soda bath. That too will balance out that pH and stop that burning sensation. These things I share with you that you may be able to go out and help people. This is the case where you may work with somebody that's got some serious problems with mobility, and you need to help them by helping them do some exercise, manipulating their body, exercising them so that they can help tone that body back. And then put this leg to down. Push it down. You got a lot of strength. I'm gonna stretch your pelvis, man. Push me back. I'm gonna try to keep you from pushing me back.
Okay.
Bend your knee. Push me back. Where you feel it? So you say, I can't hold it. All right? That's one more time. So you need to understand a little about anatomy and physiology as you work with people. You need to understand pain. That pain could be very uncomfortable. Now that's the same man that's having mobility. Now we're having him up on a stationary bike and he's riding it and he's really toning those muscles up. He's gaining strength every day. At the same time, I am constantly telling him how good Christ is and how Christ helped the paralytic and how Christ helped the man that was blind. I'm inundating him with the word of God, encouraging him that Christ loved him and that Christ is concerned about him also. There are other wonderful treatments. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, you can remove that. The next one would be, now this is the white potato. And you can do a lot. We're going to do a lot with this potato, but today I'm just going to demonstrate one particular treatment with it. But there are many different treatments that can be done with this potato. And we'll see that in the coming days. But here I simply carved out a little white potato suppository. And it's already beginning to turn dark, so it's oxidizing. So a person that have hemorrhoids, you simply take the little white potato, raw white potato, and it's for hemorrhoids and fissures. And you simply insert that into the rectal area. And you push it on up in the rectal area. Now, just push it on up in there. Don't even worry about it. And leave it in there. That potato will oxidize with the heat of the rectal area, and it will pull out the inflammation and the soreness associated with the hemorrhoids.
Especially if you got burning, itching hemorrhoids by taking a white potato suppository. There's other things you can do for hemorrhoids, like you can squeeze some lemon juice on it, and that works as an astringent. That tighten up those hemorrhoids. You can also apply aloe vera gel on hemorrhoids. If you meet a person that has, and nearly everyone, 50% of the human population got some type of vision problem, either weak eyes, glaucoma, cataract, macular degeneration, they all can benefit from a drop of lemon juice dropped in the eyes.
The tear ducts. Even though I put it in his left eye, his right eye is shedding tears too. It stimulates the tear ducts. And that's what you want, is those tear ducts is what's, solving this problem.
So the lemon juice, it's an astringent. It also kind of slightly irritates the eye, and that causes the tear duct to be released. And those in the tear duct, it has a natural form of lysine that disinfect and clean the eye, and that increases circulation. And where there's circulation, there will be light. As you travel, going door to door to witness to people, to bring them to a knowledge of Christ, you're going to meet somebody that's got inflammation of the leg.
You can use cabbage leaves, or you can use any type of greens.
Let's see what we can do.
Greens because
somebody that have inflammation
they're really
of the
big,
leg.
and I can cover a big area with it. So what I want to do with this is I want to pound this.
You can simply just take a cabbage,
See, I want to pound that.
beat the cabbage, bruise it, and apply it. Well, you're going to bruise about 4 leaves of any type of green. It can be cabbage, it can be collard, it can be any type of vegetable, leafy, green plant. That releases the oxidizing enzymes. Once you do that, you can apply that
to pound on
over the area of inflammation.
Now, if you can see I bruised it, I would bruise it a little bit better if I had something better to hit with. But when you bruise these
This
leaves,
is a wonderful
these leaves start
treatment.
oxidizing
It's
the
a
same
very
as the
safe
sugar.
treatment.
Keep in mind, this is a carbohydrate. The sugar is a carbohydrate. That means
You lay the
it's
leaves
not only
on top of
carbon and
each other.
oxygen. The sugar is more carbon.
And you encourage your patient
So
that
what you want to do is
this
to take this here
treatment will help relieve some
apply
of the
this
pain
here
and inflammation and discomfort.
over an area. I'm going to cut the stalk off so it won't be hard on the person. And let's say, for instance,
These are wonderful treatments that need to be
somebody had a
shared
bruised knee,
with the church as often as God's people come together. Remember, there's no difference between medical missionary and the preaching of
and
the
so
word.
I would simply
They can
put
be
that
done on
there
Sabbath.
like that.
This is not a violation of the Sabbath.
No,
Medical
you don't have to warm
missionary
it up.
work is
Some
the
people do, I
gospel
don't.
illustrated and manifested in love.
And
God oftentimes relieves the
I'll simply
suffering
just
on
take
Sabbath day. It is good to do good on the Sabbath day. I know most people think
And I
that
would wrap
you
that-
can't give a treatment on the Sabbath. You can't do that. But this is not Christ. Christ
and you can, this
often
can go anywhere.
treated
It
somebody.
don't matter.
on the Sabbath day.
Anywhere in the body you want it to go. So it can be on the knee, it could be on the arm, it could be on the Cabbage poultice is very good for arthritis and rheumatism, any type of inflammation, and it works wonders in help reducing inflammation and pain in the body. I talked earlier about the garlic, how you can use it as a garlic poultice on the knee. This is an illustration right here where the person had an inflamed knee. The collagen in his knee had been pretty much destroyed. But here you can see the large blisters on his knees after applying a garlic poultice. And we simply pricked those blisters and was able to pull out all that fluid that contained the inflammation. This is a person got a very inflamed a knee. And it's possibly, it could be gangrene. I had wanted to do a charcoal boot. I'll do that some other time. But how you would, I didn't have enough charcoal to do a charcoal boot. So what I'm going to do now is to show how we do the turmeric and honey treatment. And this is also one of the best treatments for any type of gangrene. Sugar is too. Sugar is good for gangrene. Turmeric and honey is good for gangrene. And so the honey and turmeric serves as a mucous membrane until the scab grow back. And anytime you have a wound like this, you're going to get a lot of weeping, because you got open tissue. You get a lot of fluid weeping. You know what I'm talking about, weeping, right? Yeah. And so what it is, I don't know if you can hear the audio well, but in this treatment is where we mix turmeric and honey together, and we apply that over open wound. This will serve as a mucous membrane until the body will develop its own membrane. It is real good because it's antiviral, it's antimicrobial, it pulls out infections, it also helps debride necrotic tissue. Now this one here is one. Move this out the way. Now this one is going to bleed also, and it's going to bleed over here. And so all these are really good visual aids when you're working, and you got all different types. You got types where show you burns, show you everything. And you can order whatever you want. It's going to take a little investment, okay? But like I think this one here cost me $300. Okay, so, but it's worth it. Okay, now see, this one here, I'm going to show a person have a bleeding out of the chest area. See that? And so it's just simulating a person is bleeding. Is bleeding, ruptured, and blood is protruding out of the body. You simply sprinkle a little cayenne pepper over the area that is bleeding, and you apply a pressure bandage, holding it firm against the area. And you do that until the bleeding stops. This is the quickest way to stop a person from losing too much blood. Here's another case in point of a person with had a tumor on their chest. And I know this is difficult to watch, and I didn't want to show too many of these type of videos because I don't know the temperament of the people. But I'm an herbal surgeon, so I do a lot of removing tumors and stuff like that. So, but in this case, this girl have a lot of dead necrotic tissue on her chest. And it's going to cause problem because it can set up septic toxemia, reabsorption of toxic debris into the bloodstream. So by simply removing most of that toxic debris, sometime in your effort to remove it, blood vessels will break and they will begin to bleed. And so by simply applying a little cayenne pepper, you can stop the bleeding. And simply apply the cayenne pepper. I won't show too much of this because, like I said, I don't know the temperament of the people and I don't want to traumatize them. But don't panic. If God has called you to do this work, He will qualify you and teach you how to do it. If you're working with a case where a person has a severe anemic condition, then you can take some dried fruits such as raisins, apricots, dates, prunes. All these dried fruits are high in natural iron. You can mix that in blackstrap molasses and grape juice, and you can let it set for about a day, and it will extract all this natural substance out of the dried fruit. And you can let a person drink a few ounces of that twice a day. That could help bring up the hemoglobin. If you don't have that, you can take as natural grape juice as you can find with the white part of a chicken egg, one egg, beat that up in the grape juice and let them drink that twice a day. Within 3 days, it could bring the hemoglobin up. It can really stop a lot of problems with their blood count being too low. One of the best remedies in the world is sugar, table sugar, believe it or not. Table sugar will fight infections, it will reduce inflammation, it will debride necrotic tissue from the body. Here's a case where a person have a bed sore, or pressure sore, or gangrene sore. They all will respond real well with a sugar poultice. You simply take 1 pound of white sugar, yes, I mean white sugar, and 1 ounce of betadine or iodine, mix it in the sugar, pack the wound with that. The sugar will oxidize. In the process of oxidizing, it would debride the old dead tissue. It would kill any type of infection. Sugar is so toxic that even bacteria cannot live in it. It is a wonderful treatment to be used externally as a poultice, but never should it be consumed in the body because it would also reduce the amount of your white blood count and lower your immune system. If you do not have sugar, anything that has sweetness in it will do it the same thing. You can take a papaya and do a papaya poultice. You can take bananas, and that can work as a poultice also. You can take honey, which is a really good one. Honey is a wonderful treatment that can be used in a wound that can stop infections and can help a person's wound heal up. After using this on this person, you can see that bed sore right there. In about 3 months, look how it healed up, and it's hardly left a scar. These treatments will work in a way to help a person overcome the things that have really beset them. After doing that treatment and observing it, to make it heal without any scarring, you take simply some golden seal, 1 pod golden seal, 1 pod myrrh if you have it, and 1 pod yarrow, and you sprinkle that in the wound, and that will cover the wound up and eventually encourage a new scab to develop. Another good treatment is a fig poultice. A fig poultice is a very good treatment, especially somebody. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to explain it, then I'm going to go through it. Right here, we have a case where this girl, she has a real large tumor mass coming out of her face. I've worked with a number of those cases, and you'll see some next week. Really large tumor mass coming out of a person's face, probably got infected in the saliva gland. And what I plan to do is to show you what we do for a case like that. And I'll switch on both sides so everybody can see. I don't know how well you can see this tumor mass right here, but basically figs. And this treatment really what we're doing is we're using a fig poultice, and we're applying this fig poultice over a lump. It could be a lump in the breast, it could be a lump in the body, and the fig has tremendous drawing properties that can pull out infections. It can reduce the cyst. It can also take the swelling down from a tumor. We know this to be an effective treatment, because in the book of Isaiah, the 38th chapter, we've seen that Isaiah used a fig poultice on Hezekiah and healed him of his deadly, life-threatening condition. Another treatment is a clay.
On this side. Another good treatment would be a clay treatment. And let's say this person here have a problem, an injury, and you want to do a clay poultice on this person.
What kind of injury?
Any type of, muscle injury, muscle spasms, or pain, and you want to do a clay poultice. And this is green clay. You can use just about any type of clay you want. Now, I like to, when I do a poultice, I like to do it real thick. I don't ever do a real thin poultice.
This is a clay treatment.
It just don't draw well.
And,
The thicker
we
you
know
make it,
that Mamon
the better
experienced
drawing effect you're going to have.
a clay bath.
Now, this clay needs to be warm when you apply it.
Naaman experienced a clay bath. When Elisha
heat
told
it
him
up.
to go dip in the
There's
Jordan.
different ways you can do it. You can
And
put
how
it in a
clay
sock, a
really
cotton bag,
has
or you
very
can put it
powerful
between,
drawing
like
properties.
say,
Very
a
similar
paper
to
towel like that, and
chocolate.
fold it back over like that. You can do it in a microwave, whichever way you want to heat it up. Now, let's say, for instance, I was working with this person here. Then I could come here and apply that clay poultice. I could apply that clay poultice like that.
So you can see where I took the clay and I made a poultice out of it and I applied it. And I'm going to wrap and secure that real well. And that's going to cause a lot of drawing, cause it to draw a lot of infection.
Any type of injury.
Another very simple treatment that I've had firsthand experience with is a baking soda plaster poultice, especially if you got a severe burn. There you can see a hand that has been burnt real bad with a 3rd-degree burn by simply taking some ice, water, and mixing some regular baking soda in it till you make a plaster, and you cover the hand with that. That will stop an acid burn. And if you would do this, the person will not even have any scar tissue left after the hand heal up. You can apply this anywhere on the body. Many times when a person is at church, in the supermarket, at home, they could have a heart attack or angina pains. You can stop a heart attack within 30 seconds if you know how to use some cayenne pepper. By simply taking a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper and about 1 ounce of water and let them drink that, that can stop a heart attack. If they have had a heart attack and they're unconscious, you can put a little pinch of cayenne pepper on their tongue or under their tongue. That too can cause that heart to begin to work again and can stop a heart attack. In this case is where we're doing a complete clay bath. Okay, that one place. So let's go to something else. A salt glow is very relaxing to the central nervous system. It calms a person down. It helps remove toxins out the system. The more toxin you have in the system, the greater inflammation you're going to have, and the more you're going to feed the cancer cells. So by doing a salt friction rub, So if you hear that friction, it's removing those dead skin off his body. Open up those pores of his skin so they can breathe, and that releases toxins out of the system. Another very good treatment is a fever bath.
Always safe to first check the vital signs to make sure his pulse rate is close to normal and to also make sure that his blood pressure is in good shape. This is important because the fever bath will elevate his pulse and his whole respiration. The purpose of the fever bath is simply to elevate his body temperature. And if it's possible to get his body temperature up to 102 to 103, you can paralyze and even kill some of the cancer cells. This is a wonderful treatment, yet this treatment must be monitored very closely so that your patient will never get too hot. Also, this treatment is designed to stimulate the white blood cells to leave the bone marrow so that those cells can attack the cancer cells.
A fever bath is a beautiful treatment. It's one of the most powerful treatments we have, and how it's quite effective in dealing with cancer or any other problem where you have a weak immune system. This is another type of fever treatment where I'm actually giving the bath.
You ready?
A medical missionary. He is to incorporate not only the physical treatment, but also the Word of God. He is a doctor and a preacher, and he must learn these treatments because these treatments will help him to be able to reach the unreachable.
Just going to use the sheet. Will all the sheets be wet? No, the only sheet wet is this top right here. This is the only one that's wet.
This is a wet sheet wrap. This is where you take 3 sheets or 3 blankets with the top one dipped in cold water. And the person is undraped. And you're going to wrap that person up with these sheets. And even though it's a cold treatment, it really is a heating treatment. It will cause his body to generate heat deep inside of the body. This is the most safest treatment you can do because the body will regulate the temperature, and it is just fantastic. So I encourage all to try this beautiful treatment.
So I tuck that, I raise the arm up, just remember that. This one here, well, I tuck this under her on this side. Now, the other part of the wet sheet comes back over. And you just want to tug on that a little bit. Try to get as much of the wrinkles out as possible. Air pockets out of it. Touch that. Wipe it up real good. Then this is a dry sheet.
do it as neat as you can. I'm
So
really
this is a wet
concerned when
sheet
I
wrap.
see somebody do.
And to me, it's one of the best treatments in the world. And it really relaxes a person. It's good for a fever. It's good to calm a person down. It's just really good. It also helps boost the immune system. This is a treatment that most people kind of shy away from because they don't like doing it, but really it's most valuable. What if a person had high blood pressure, 200 over 120? He was afraid they was going to have a stroke or heart attack. Quickest way to bring that pressure down in a safe level is to give them a garlic enema. I call it a rectal IV by simply taking one bulb of garlic, chopping it up, putting it in the blender, fill the blender up with water, liquefy that, strain it, and then put in a little syringe and inject about anywhere from 2 to 6 ounces of garlic tea in the rectum. Instruct the person that this is not to make them have a bowel movement. It is to implant the garlic tea in the rectum. Garlic is a solvent. That means it would absorb into the bloodstream. And when you put it in the rectum, it absorbs through the portal veins and go right to the liver. It bypasses the gastric tract, which means you get the full spectrum of the garlic in the bloodstream. This can calm down the system and bring the blood pressure down within minutes. And that's just a simple garlic enema. You can get these little inexpensive syringes, an enema bag, and you can accomplish the same purpose. I have worked with people with Parkinson's disease, and it's a condition that really is a malfunction of the central nervous system, and where a person have lived on denatured, devitamized diet, deprived of many of the B vitamins, and by simply replacing those B vitamins and putting them on a balanced diet, teaching them how to use those limbs that have laid dormant, giving them a bean called fava beans, which is high in dopamine, and cleaning them and detoxifying them, keeping their body well hydrated, giving them a lot of physical therapy, you can reverse Parkinson's. It is not an incurable disease. And once again, as you teach a baby how to walk, you teach them how to have good coordination. You have to teach a person with a central nervous system disease, MS, Parkinson, Lou Gehrig's disease. You have to teach them how to use their body. It's time consuming, but the reward is worth it all.
We wet the sheet in cold water and we set it aside. We patted the seat real well with a very thick cloth. And we made sure we patted the back of the seat to protect Jean from any additional heat that is then generated from the electric skillet, electric eye underneath the chair. We made sure that the plastic and the sheet is a good distance away from the heat. Now, in wrapping Jean with the wet sheet, we simply took the plastic and wrapped it over him.
Bath, and it's one that can be done. You can do this anywhere. You simply get a chair and a steamer, a vaporizer, a hot pot of boiling water that's producing steam. You pad the chair real good so you won't burn the patient. You put the steamer, a hot boiling water up under the chair, and you wrap the person with a wet sheet, and then you wrap them with plastic, and you secure it real well, and you trap the steam. This will really cause them to sweat, and it is, once again, another one of those wonderful treatments. There may be time a person cannot have a bowel movement, they have a blockage of the colon. You may have to give them an oil enema, olive oil enema, inject about 2 ounces of olive oil in the rectum. Then you need to put on a good pair of gloves and take your longest finger and insert it up in the rectum
and feel for any hard impacted ways.
That's what I'm doing. You got to go in there and pull that stuff out. And then, is that hurting again? Let me try to go back up in there again. Let's see. Okay. See how it looked like a paste?
So I'm educating, and I'm teaching as I work.
Post-putrefact waste.
Your only concern is to help a patient. So, forget about what it smelled like or what it looked like. Just forget about that. Here's another case where a man had a tumor on his face. And I had to assist this family how to help this man, how to remove the tumor from his face. And these treatments and many more can be used in faith to reverse the most incurable diseases. I believe God has given us the gift, and not just to me, but many more, how we can help humanity to see that Jesus Christ have not forsaken the world, but he has given us the ability to help those that were called in his precious name. I think my time is just about up, so I'm going to stop there. And once again, I've enjoyed it, sharing with you these little simple remedies. I do know there need to be a time, and I hate I couldn't be there. There need to be a time where we could sit down and there could be some really classes teaching God's people. God's people need to find less time in theory, but more time in practicality. There need to be training, intense training, so that God's people can be prepared to meet the urgency that we are confronted with. May God bless you, and remember, Jesus Christ was a doctor and a preacher. And every preacher that would preach the everlasting gospel must be a doctor, and every doctor must be a preacher. May God bless you and keep you, and thank you.